Welcome back, guys. We're continuing on with these Mechabellum 1v1 replays, and we have got a weird matchup for you next. So I went for a heavy hacker, so it's going to be a hacker match, but it is anything but ordinary. It turned out to be a right mess, and it was very fun. So make sure you watch to the end. It was, yeah, it was unorthodox. So, the opponent did something which really messed me up at the beginning, and I don't know whether it was by design or just pure fluke, but I will point it out when he does it. Well, you'll see. So I start off with Mustang Crawler, I add in another Mustang, and we are Rhino Specialist. He is Sledgehammer Crawler with Cost Control, and he's added in another Crawler and Sledge. So it's going to be a bit rough for us at the beginning, because we're up against sledges. We haven't got anything to really combat the sledges. So, round one goes to him. And Heavy Hacker shows its face. So I do enjoy using the Heavy Hacker, and it is nice to pair with Crawlers and Mustangs because it's quite a lot faster than the usual hacker at 13 meters a second. And this is the point where he does something that cocks me up royally. So this little crawler here is going to prove to be the bane of my existence, and you shall see why. So like I say, I don't know if he's done this on purpose or not, but it pulls over my entire left flank over to the right, which then leaves this tower completely exposed for these crawlers to just walk in and just take a free tower. So yeah, I don't know whether he's done this before and it worked really well, and so he's just copied it again, or if it was pure fluke, but my god did it work. So Heavy Hacker is doing a great job at tanking, with him having the same health as a Rhino. But because we lost the tower, it was all for naught. So now I have to think of how to combat this situation we found ourselves in. So he's gone for Deployment Specialist. And we also went for Deployment Specialist. It's pretty much a choice that you have to make, really. You don't want the opponent outmassing you. And my decision was to put the Rhino over here. Now unfortunately he's already countered this by putting steel balls here, but it was the only option that I had to protect this tower, was to put something over at the flank here. I could have put something here, but I felt like putting something at the flank would buy time for these to get the work done over here. So I've put a wasp screen in front of the rhino, just so if he does rocket me, it'll hit the wasps and not the rhino. And I've put in some crawlers just slightly ahead of the rhino. So hopefully the steel balls will lock onto the crawlers. Unfortunately, one of the steel balls did lock onto the rhino, so the rhino went down really quickly, but it did buy time for this tower. So although the flank itself was a failure, it has bought enough time to save the tower and potentially win the round. But in the very least, it's mitigated the amount of losses that we're going to take. But because we've got wasps and they haven't got any anti-air, we're either going to win the round or it's going to be very close because the time will run out. Unfortunately, the wasps didn't target the tower. That would have made life a bit easier, not having to chase them everywhere. So we are running out of time, but we've reduced the amount of damage that we're going to receive anyway. So I think the flank was successful, even though the rhino itself did terribly. It's looking like we might actually finish everybody off. So that was pretty successful, but obviously that's a one-trick pony. He's now going to put Mustangs over there. So I decided to go for the orbital bombardment to try and clear up the center a bit quicker. I think he might have skipped there. So now I need to try and decide whether to just abandon this flank and just use it as a time buyer, or whether to go all in on this flank and try and actually win on that side. So it's a tough decision. So he's brought in his Mustangs everywhere. So I've bought the shield for the wasp. It's quite expensive for a single unit, but I feel like it's necessary to try and buy as much time as possible. And we're bringing in 2 more heavy hackers. So I decide to abandon this particular area for now and bring the hackers in over here, just to try and win this area as quickly as possible. And I'm bringing in some crawlers over here just to try and buy even more time. So everything's going a little bit better this time round. Unfortunately, the crawlers just didn't make it in time to save the rhino. But overall, it went quite well. The wasps are doing a good job at buying time. Things are looking fairly decent in this area. Got multiple heavy hackers still alive. Well, 2 of them anyway. And the wasps actually survived, unbelievably. and we won the round. So it might have been due to the help of the orbital bombardment, so we might not have quite so much success in this next round. So he skipped. We are going for the haste module and popping it on this hacker just so he gets into the fight a bit quicker. He's now 18 meters a second. That's fast. Leveling up the hackers. Am I going to reinforce this area? Got 800 supply left, so what do I decide to do? It's quite an important decision here. Looks like I'm taking a lot of time to decide, and I've decided to go for range on the hackers, bringing in 2 hackers and a crawler. So where am I going to put them? So I'll put one more crawler here. And I'm putting a hacker, I'm putting both hackers here. So I'm doing my best to try and help out this flank as much as possible. So the steel balls have locked onto the rhinos, and he's brought over another Mustang this time. So things are going to be a lot worse for me in that area. We've lost one of the heavy hackers. There was quite a lot more chaff over this area, so it's taken us a bit more time to carve our way through, and he's got a large force over here now. So we are going to lose this round, but we didn't lose it, well, yeah, we kind of did lose it quite heavily. Let's have a look. Yeah, we lost quite a lot of health there. A lot of health indeed. So we need to do something to stem the bleeding. So I decided to go for portable shield, and I put it on the rhino. So I'm not sure whether that was a good choice or not, because if these steel balls lock on, then that's going to be a problem. So I decided to put underground blitz on for 2 reasons. One, because it makes them faster, so it might get these crawlers in front of the steel balls in time, but also because it gives them a lot more defense, so it'll buy a little bit more time for us. And I'm bringing in some more crawlers over here just to try and protect the rhino a bit. Leveling up the hackers. I've still got 400 supply left, so what am I going to decide to do? 2 more hackers, of course it is. And I decided to burn the supply as well to upgrade a couple of these Mustangs. I'm not sure whether that was a good decision or not to bring in 2 heavy hackers, but I really want to try and secure this flank, so I'm bringing both hackers over in this area. So we're doing a fairly decent job of buying time, but unfortunately he's just locked onto the rhino, so we didn't quite manage to protect the rhino. It's a bit unfortunate, but we've managed to do pretty well in this corner. So again, we are going to lose the round fairly heavily, but hopefully we survive with enough HP to get another round out of this. I think one thing that would really help right now is multi-control on the hackers. It's going to be close, and we are alive with 140 hit points left. So incredibly tight. Things aren't looking good for us. But can we turn it around? So he skipped. I'm taking my time. I don't quite know what the best thing to do is here. And I decide to go for heavy Mustang. Now I have got 3 Mustangs out. So it might make a difference, but it's probably unlikely. And now come the Overlord Armada with healing as well, field maintenance. So this is looking bad. So I've gone for the multi-hack. Can the multi-hack change the outcome of this round? I've still got 400 supply left, so what am I going to decide to do with it? And more hackers. Aha, a hacker and 2 crawlers. So I'm not sure if that's where I wanted to put them, but I ran out of time, so that's where they're going to be. And the multi-hack is doing a fairly decent job so far. We're not doing too bad up in this corner. We're managing to hack all the balls, buying time. Multi-hack is doing fairly decent over here, stealing quite a lot of the enemy. Is it going to be enough though? That's the question. We've taken out the tower, so that's a good start. But is this going to be enough to take out 4 overlords just with this handful of Mustangs? Well, they're doing okay. The hackers managed to take the tower down. And it's looking like we're going to win the round. Against all odds, the hackers came through. Obviously we didn't exactly do much in the way of health damage, and we're still only on 140, so it's going to be incredibly tense to the end here. He skipped, and I went for photon emission. So I'm trying to buy as much time as I can up in this corner with the photon emission. He is going for Vulcans. So he's trying to burn out my Mustangs. So I decide to go for range and splash damage on the Mustangs. That's an interesting decision. I definitely wouldn't have gone for splash damage if I'd have replayed this. So he still hasn't brought any of his own flanks in, which is quite surprising. Just a single unit in the back corner would have made a big difference for him. Right, so we've burnt rapid resupply and got 3 more snipers out, or 3 snipers, not 3 more. So I'm obviously trying to use the snipers to take down the overlords. At this point I don't know about the Vulcans. So let's see what happens. This is going to be very tense. So although the rhino keeps dying, he is doing a good job at delaying them. Let's see what happens over here with these Vulcans. So luckily the Vulcans have locked onto the hackers because of the range that I put on the Mustangs. And we have stolen one Vulcan, we've stolen a second Vulcan. Vulcan goes down. Let's take this tower out. Come on, take the tower out. Okay, we've got a chance. We've got 3 snipers and some high level Mustangs. And we managed to win the round again. Oh, this is a tight finish. 140 versus 297. If only we managed to steal that final Vulcan instead of killing it, would have been game over. So he's gone for ranged specialist. Let's see what I decide to go for. I decide to skip. I'm obviously trying to save as much money as possible. Let's see what I decide to bring in. He's bringing in more overlords. He's now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 giants on the field. And I've got none. Can the hackers win against such odds? So he's gone for range on his overlords. It's an interesting decision. I think I would have gone for overlord artillery. Right, what's going to happen? I still haven't spent any of my money and I've only got 18 seconds left. So I decided to go for Phoenixes to try and snipe the enemy Vulcans and Overlords. Not sure if that's a great decision. Probably should have doubled down on the snipers. But here we are anyway. Let's see how it goes. We've got an orbital bombardment, which is doing a little bit, I suppose. Not a huge amount. So we managed to hack some steel balls up here, buying a lot of time for our main force. Is it enough? Is it enough? There is a lot of enemies left alive. Nice. Take the tower out. Nice. Is it enough? And unbelievably, we managed to win against 9 giants with none of our own. So, did you see that coming? Because I certainly didn't. We've got ourselves a level 4 hacker here, a couple of level 3s. These ones didn't do too good, but they did buy a lot of time for these to get the work done down here. So yeah, an absolute mess this battle was. 9 rounds of randomness, but somehow we managed to pull a victory out of the hat, and I'm not quite sure how. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Join me again in the next one, and we shall see if it's more hackers or if it's a conventional battle. So cheers for watching, take care, and I shall see you soon.